Hello and welcome to The Gaggle, where we challenge and, if necessary, destroy media narratives. I'm George Szamuely. With me today is co-founder of The Gaggle, Peter Lavelle, host also of RT's talk show Crosstalk. Well, today is the day after the day before, and the Trump impeachment trial finally came to an end. The vote was 57-43 for conviction, but that fell 10 votes short of the needed 67 for a finding of guilty by the Senate. Hence, Donald Trump is declared acquitted by the Senate. And that's the end of that. But nonetheless, there were two extraordinary events that took place yesterday. The first was an apparent desire on the part of the impeachment managers, who are effectively the prosecution, to call witnesses. This, of course, provoked a response from the Trump team to say, well, we want to call maybe around 300 defense witnesses. This then caused the turmoil, and the Senate Majority Leader, Chuck Schumer, clearly was having none of that, because he suddenly saw that this means that the trial would go on forever. There was no prospect at all of any conclusion at all to the trial. So that demand for witnesses was jettisoned, and instead they read into the record the twice removed hearsay evidence, quote, evidence, unquote, of a congresswoman who claimed that House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy had reported something or other about his conversation with Donald Trump on January the 6th. So as evidence is obviously worthless, but that's all it was. It was going to be read into the record. But it's a statement that she had in any case made in public. So it wasn't in any sense witness testimony or witness deposition. So that was the one extraordinary event. The second extraordinary event was Mitch McConnell, who, having voted to find the trial to be unconstitutional and finding Trump to be not guilty, went off into an extraordinary tirade against Trump, in which he let fly, all of his hatred and resentments and anger and frustration with Trump. It was more vehement than anything that
catharsis.
Yeah, that's it. Anything that the managers had said, or anything that any Democratic senator or congressman had said. He accused him of conspiracy theories. He said, yeah, he incited this insurrection, everything that he did, and so on. And what was amazing about this is that up until the mid-December, McConnell had been supporting Trump's claims that fraud had taken place in the election. He suddenly made a switch in mid-December, not entirely understandable why he did so, other than he suddenly saw that the courts weren't going to do anything for Trump, and so he decided to join the winning team. But either way, it wasn't exactly a principled decision. And for him now to say, oh, Trump has been, peddling ludicrous conspiracy theories and so on, was really fairly pathetic. Typically, of course, McConnell has infuriated all sides, because the pro-impeachment and conviction brigade is outraged that he didn't lend his voice to them and try to whip the Republican votes for a conviction. And of course, the pro-Trump side is outraged at him for essentially stabbing Trump in the back. So McConnell tried to be very cute and has outraged everybody. So for the time being, the impeachment of Trump is over. But given the Democrats' principle, which is, you can impeach anyone at any time, whether they're in office or out of office, there's no guarantee that they're not going to come back to impeaching Trump in 6 months' time. All right, yeah. Peter, what's your take?
Well, I mean, there's so many things to look at here. First of all, invention of the snap impeachment. Wow, what a really big mistake. Okay, and they know it. Okay, what they wanted to do was to kick Trump in the ass on the way out. That's exactly what they wanted to do. But another thing, and this is what I'm glad you went into detail with McConnell, because this creates a schism that the Democrats are going to definitely really hammer away at, is that the Democratic Party and the Republican Party is split, and it's split badly. And there's a redeemable part. You can be redeemed, okay? You can be an ally, as they like to use the terminology. So what they've been able to do, or what they've been allowed to do, is that McConnell has given them a roadmap. Okay, is that he's made a split where McConnell is more or less safe. Okay, he said his piece. He didn't, bite the bullet at the end, but he did say the right things. Okay, this is how their mind works. Okay, because they need an enemy, and they've got a very clearly set enemy right now. That's just not the GOP. It is elements within the GOP, which of course you and I, the day after. Go check our videos. The day after the events on the Capitol on January 6th, they were talking about insurrection, all that. And because of the hour changes, you and I wake up in the next morning, we find out it was white supremacists that did it. Okay, so they've already grafted that on. So anyone that didn't support the impeachment process of Trump is a white supremacist. Okay, and that of course, it's probably the worst thing outside of a child molester you can call someone in American politics. Okay. And so McConnell opened up a chasm there that I think that, McConnell, up until that moment, you could make the claim that he had some kind of it was a master of politics and all of that. At least that was the allure that he liked to project. He's an idiot, okay? He's just a complete idiot, because on the face of it, if you say all those things and you vote the other way, then you're an idiot, okay? You can't square that circle, okay? He's on his last term, all right? And who knows what kind of deal he made with Schumer behind closed doors. We don't know. We may never know. Okay, but it's basically he's up to doing something like that. So this is the opening salvo. This is not the end of anything. It's the beginning of something. And these people that voted against conviction here, the Democrats are going to met out their special treatment for them. Okay, but it's making Republicans choose sides. And I'm going to be doing that later this week on Crosstalk, is that, you have this Taylor Greene woman and you have Trump, okay? And then all the rest of them. That's how they're starting to create this here. It's easy. You can say, oh, they're just obstructionists against the minimum wage. They're against but no, their ideological possession right. will drive them that, Trump, it's still about this poison called Trump and his surrogate Taylor Greene. Okay, that's how they're going to play this. And the Republicans are they're always caught off-footed. Okay, they really don't. I mean, when is there going to be a Republican stand and say this is just nonsense? Knock it off. All right. But there's no backbone there, okay? And this is all the Republicans doing. It's all their own fault, okay? Mitch McConnell, you hated Donald Trump the entire time. We knew that, okay? But your public face said very differently. And now you're coming out this way. And a lot of people say that's what the GOP is all about. They'll never have your back. And these people that were basically the generation of the Tea Party, they feel very assaulted and insulted by the party again, okay? And so traditionally, it's the party out of power that has a chance at the midterms. History may be in the making here. The history may be in the making, considering how they're going to codify and quote unquote legitimize through law new voting procedures. And this witch hunt that they're going. This is the party of witch hunts. The Democrats are a party of witch hunts. And look what's going on with policy. What is the position of the Democratic Party on all of the things they quote unquote ran on? I don't know. Nobody knows. The only thing you do know is that Trump is still in their mind. And that's the only thing they think will work for him. Because look, Joe Biden, it's all on tape. Joe Biden said, Bernie, you want to say something to me? Yes, I want to talk about the economy, Joe, and a $15 minimum wage. Oh, and Biden, he got on board. Okay, what's going on right now? No, well, maybe 11, means test, and the progressives are going to say, see what happened here? So this is a lot of it is unraveling. The Democrats don't have a path forward except for to grab power, and it's not through policy.
No, I think that's right, and I think that that is why I think that what they're going to do now is hold hearings on every aspect of the Trump administration. I mean, obviously, they're going to hold hearings about the events of January the 6th. They're going to hold hearings about did he try to enrich himself during his time in office, and everything else, the hearings about his immigration. That's all they're going to do. They're not going to hold hearings about policy or proposed legislation. That's what they're going to do. And then I think maybe before the midterms, maybe before the 2024 election, they will move to impeach Trump yet again, because they found this is what works. And as you say, it works because they can split the Republican Party. They know that they can peel off. I mean, in this case, they peeled off 7 Republicans. That's almost 15%. Well, maybe they'll do better next time. Maybe they can get 20%. That means the party is split. It works very well for the Democrats.
That's why the Taylor Greene issue is going to be front and center.
Right. No,
How do you feel about her? Okay. It's good. She's going to be the Trump surrogate for them. Okay. A real person that you can pick on. Okay.
Right. No, I think that's right. They certainly hold her. But it also shows how ineffectual the Republican Party leadership is. It's completely out of touch with its own voters. I mean, all of these Republicans who have voted to impeach Trump, they have all been censured by their own parties. I mean, they're toasted in the media, but they're censured by their own parties. In other words, the very people who actually vote them into office, they say, we didn't vote you into office in order to censure the leader of our party.
Can you spell Liz Cheney?
Exactly. And then Liz Cheney, and then what happened to Liz Cheney? Again, she was censured. Now they're threatening to primary her. And then McCarthy lays it on the line to the Republicans and say, if you reject Liz Cheney, I keep calling her Lynn Cheney, Liz Cheney, you're rejecting me. So you have to vote for her because otherwise you're effectively rejecting me.
We don't need you. Go.
Yeah, I think so. Exactly. Okay. We're good to go.
Good go.
And 62 Republicans did exactly that. They say, yeah, okay, I'm good. But yeah, I mean, that's going to be the Democrats' path forward. We'll just keep whipping up this fervor about Taylor Greene, but also about Trump. Trump made clear from his statement yesterday that he now intends to, get back into political life. Quite how he's going to do it without Twitter, but I'm sure he's going to do something. Trump is not temperamentally somebody who's going to just sit in the background and play golf. So yeah, that we've now got the next few years mapped out, which is just going to be a continuation of what we've had before.
Yep, Trump. Well, he needs to settle a lot of scores. That's what's going to drive him. Okay,
right.
And he has. From what I understand, I may be mistaken. He went down significantly in the polls, and now he's climbing back within the base, not to where he was before. There were a number of Republicans that somehow make a connection between him and the events of January 6th, and they have fleed, at least for the time being here. So, yeah, I mean, the Republicans have opened himself up to this, particularly McConnell. McConnell led the way. McCarthy led the way. Okay, so this is something that's going to be almost unresolvable for the Republicans. But I really want to stress, and you've given the background here, I really want to stress is that they're going to constantly put this in committees, and they're going to be debating it, and they're going to be investigating it, all the while. The people that are hovering around Joe are going to say, come on, Joe, sign this one too. And sign this one here too, Joe. Okay, we got 16, we got 15, now we got 14, 12 months, 8 months, 4 months. Sign it, because it's not going to go through Congress.
Right. Yeah, no, that's exactly right. So, what we have now is, of course, you have these party leaders, and clearly Republicans really hate people like Mitch McConnell because they, from the way he was speaking yesterday, he hates people showing up. He calls them the mob and everything. I mean, he just hates the idea of these vulgar, working class, blue collar, ordinary people with
because that's because in office, that's where he counts his money. Okay.
They're disgusting. He doesn't like them. And so he thinks of politics as something where you glad hand your donors, you make nice with the lobbyists, you do deals in the back rooms, and you make a lot of money. He's a very, very wealthy man, as is his wife, and they just hate that these people show up who feel very passionately about politics. They feel very passionately about ideas and so on. No, it's about me. It's about me making money and me making deals. It's not about you. And they could just see and that's true of McCarthy and a lot of the Republican leaders, they hate the masses because the Republican Party, particularly under Trump, has become the blue collar party. I mean, it used to be the sort of the business roundtable people. You go in there, you have a lunch with them, and then they sign the check. That was the way McConnell used to do business. He just doesn't like it that the party has changed under Trump.
See, but you've really hit the problem here because it is a party of blue collar workers, except for the leadership is not embracing it. See, the blue collar workers are embracing the Republican Party, but the Republicans are not returning the embrace.
Yeah.
And I can't remember, it was in one of the main journals, the usual propaganda rags, I'm paraphrasing here. The Republican Party is the party of the working class. And then you go into the article and we're working for more deregulation.
Right, exactly. Right.
It's like, this is stupidity that is fluent stupidity. Okay.
Right, yeah.
Because, give me one blue collar worker that is up in the middle of the night thinking, can they deregulate more? Can they cut taxes more for the rich?
Exactly.
No one talks like that. No one thinks like that. Yeah. No one.
Exactly.
No blue collar worker thinks that way.
It is kind of hilarious because there's a lot of Republican leaders have sort of understood this, that, well, hey, the Republican Party has become the blue collar party. And they know that, okay, yeah, we're the blue collar party. And what's your program? Tax cuts. So it's like, yeah, okay. Well, now that you realize that you're the blue collar party, how about an economic message that's going to appeal to these blue collars? They don't have it. And then, of course, what happens is the next election, they don't show up, which is exactly what happened in every previous election before Trump. They simply will. They don't particularly like the Democrats. They know the Democrats despise them, but they don't show up and vote for the Republicans.
Really, what they need to do is that if you look at the core values of blue collar workers, middle class people in general, they want security, they need health care, and they're thinking about their children. How about some tax cuts for children? I'm all for it. On board. Okay. Also, vocational schools actually learn to do something. Push that. Is it going to cost money? Yeah, it's going to cost money. Okay, but why are you giving all of the good ideas to the wrong people that enacted in the worst possible corrupt way? Okay,
right.
I mean, because blue collar people, workers, they don't want to be taken care of. They're not looking for the nanny state. They're just saying, can you give me a break? Can you give me some option? That's all we want. We don't want you to be big government. We don't want your values. You already know what our values are. Let us attain them, okay? We don't want to be part of this cult-like environment, the Democratic Party, with their diversity and their equity and all that nonsense, okay? Because that's all that's gonna turn into a shitstorm sooner than later, okay? The Republicans are saying, we just need some basic things to get our lives together, particularly getting us out of this economic hole. How about a program? Republicans, small and medium-sized businesses that have been affected by the pandemic, we're going to have we're going to have an infrastructure program for you, for exclusively you people.
Right.
This is not crazy stuff. And this is helping people that already knew how to make money. It's not a social program. You just keep pouring money into it and see if something happens. No, there are plenty of businesses out there say $150,000 can get me back on my feet, get me going, even make it a low interest loan. Even make it that. People would go for it. Where is the innovation here? Deregulation and tax cuts. Give me a break.
Right. No, I think that's right. Yeah, I mean, you can definitely have an anti-big government message while also insisting on a government role in the economy, because you can say, well, what is big government? Big government is the feds in cahoots with the giant corporations in order to screw the working man. I mean, that's what it means. So yeah, big government isn't about helping the ordinary person. Big government is, hey, let's get together with Goldman Sachs and Silicon Valley and make sure that everything is done so that you can go on shipping jobs overseas, so that you go on outsourcing, you can go on importing cheap labor from the rest of the world. That's big government. So you can then say, yeah, we have an anti-big government message, but we do think that there's we're not going to just simply, let the free market reign, let free, everything be settled by the free market. No, there's a role for government, basically with its infrastructure, public services, but we don't like the big government, which is, we're in cahoots with big tech.
But what's misunderstood, this whole libertarian argument of small government and all that, that's all theory. And usually people, are in think tanks and they're paid for, they're taken care of, a lot of them. Well, that's why they like libertarianism. But my point is, and what I'm trying to articulate here is that the most important capital exists, human capital. It's already there. You don't have to create that, okay? You have to unleash it, is all I'm saying here. And I don't want people to misunderstand me, is that I'm looking at, just look at this, 1.9 trillion bill, this omnibus thing, which enrages me. It's, they've stuck things in there to fix problems that started in the 1960s, okay, with pension funds and all of that. No, I would want a skinny bill. You guys take care of that. That's a state issue, okay? We're looking at just what the pandemic and the economic turndown. That's all I'm interested in. It's a much smaller amount and it's much more focused, and instead of just helicoptering money all over the place. And on top of it, a $2,000 check, separate bill completely, no attachments to it, just that. I am for limited means testing, like a family of $150,000 a year and down. Okay, I see no point in sending Zuckerberg $2,000.
Well,
okay,
I don't think this is the $2,000. You can't go on sending these $2,000 checks at all. You have to basically open up an economy. You just keeping.
I agree with you.
Yeah, so yeah.
The most important thing is to open up the economy. Yes, right. I agree 100%. I'm just saying, just get a little extra injection to get it roaring, okay? For people that actually want to do it, okay? That's all I'm saying. I'll say this here, and I'll probably get people really riled up. If you're in a teachers union, no check for you. You didn't do any work, okay?
Right,
no check.
No, I think it's...
It's unconscionable what they're doing. It's unconscionable. Right. Catholic schools, private schools, charter schools, they're all back in business.
Right.
Okay? And if there was a flare up of COVID in any of those private institutions, we would have heard about it. Okay.
All right. No, I think it's, that's right. So then we got the real question, which is we go forward towards economic populism versus basically continuing as before. And Trump has so far been the head of the economic populist movement, but it may well just get beyond him. Who knows? You have a movement and you have a leader. It could be that a movement could dissolve without the leader. Without a leader, it could just dissolve into the usual kind of Republican kind of disintegration. You have, you have people who are obsessed with abortion. You got people obsessed with free markets. There's a very, the kind of familiar breakup of the Republican Party, which could happen, without somehow Trump to galvanize it. But you could also have an alternative. You could have somebody could come along and articulate the message in a more coherent way than Trump did, because it's not always clear whether Trump actually even ever understood the movement that he became the head of. But I think that populism is kind of the way forward. Could be a right-wing populism, could be a left-wing populism. It doesn't look at the moment as if there's any left-wing populism on the horizon. And Sanders is
that chapter is still to be
right.
written.
But somebody but at the moment, the populist energy is on the right.
But I think you really hit the nail on the head here about Trump and right-wing progressivism, populism. It's really unclear right now, and it's probably the thing that we have to figure out. Can you have a populism as people understand it now without Trump, or is Trump synonymous with that movement? And what is their relationship? And the Democrats are going to pound away at it. And a lot of Republicans, the never Trumpers or the Trump doubters or something like that, they're going to try to crawl their way through this here. But that's the big question. I mean, do people understand populism? I don't know how many people actually call themselves a populist. That's why I'm focusing on Trump here, because they like Trump. You and I would interpret that as something approximating populism, though that may not be how they would articulate it themselves. And the problem is, as you just pointed out, Trump's not very good at articulating it as well. I mean, he had plenty of time to do it. You and I lamented it week after week after week after 4 years. But that's going to be the thing they have to untangle, because they're intimately all enmeshed. And I don't really have an answer for it right now. It's a real quandary.
No, I think exactly. We just don't know. If Trump does want to make a comeback, he's going to have to act very differently from the way he acted before. I mean, he's going to have to create a movement. He's going to have staff people with those who actually accept Trumpian or populist message. He can't just simply say, well, I'm a populist, and now I'm going to staff my administration with all of the establishment types. And lo and behold, they all undermine you. They all stab you in the back. And, in the end, they're all ready to.
Yeah, Paul Ryan, he's back.
To impeach you.
Paul Ryan for Secretary of.
Yeah, exactly. Paul Ryan, and all the people he appointed, all of the Pompeos and the McMasters and the Tillersons and the Kellys. I mean, we just go on and on and on. All these people, John Boltons. I mean, you come in, you're the sort of the outsider, and then you hire a whole bunch of insiders who all have their own agenda. They've been around for decades. They had their own agenda. They knew what they wanted to do, and they basically just did it on Trump's dime. So he would have to very much change his approach if he wants to be, this time to be a successful.
Yeah, well, I mean, when the Trump tax cut was passed, that was the day that he was least popular in public opinion polls during his entire presidency. I suppose up until the last few days, which I don't know what the polling numbers are. But and of course, the Paul Ryan said, "We're done."
We're done, exactly.
and then he disappears. It's like I got my job done.
Even more money. Now I think I'll go and make even more money than I already have. No, that's it. And it was that's why Trump didn't have a coherent message. I mean, he would still go on about the stock market. Oh, the stock market is surging. Who the hell cares about the stock market? I mean, it's such a ridiculous thing. So, that was kind of the problem with Trump. He was unable to articulate a coherent message that he seemed to be able to do in 2016. 2016, he did seem to have a coherent populist message. He lost that. So, if he is planning a comeback, he's going to have to return to the message of 2016. Otherwise, it's just going to be quite pointless.
Yeah, and a movement can only sustain itself so long without any kind of results. And I think that if he were to remain in politics, either as the front man or as the kingmaker, we have no idea which one. And I think that's going to be hard to figure out for a long time. I think maybe the midterms will tell us something. But the populist message has to be so distilled
Yeah.
so clearly, because it was just all over the place. And it was good. It was a good feel populism. I think that's a good way of looking at it. And that's actually the precursors to policy. But we're past, we know what we want. Now it has to be articulated and distilled into very, very easy to understand messaging that really gets to the heart of what working people and just conservative people in general. They have, Trump pulled off an amazing thing for someone that lost the second term. He got 75 million votes. It's extraordinary outcome.
Yeah,
Extraordinary.
no,
And somebody, if it's not Trump, it's got to be somebody that they say, this is the raw material. We need to, have an autopsy and figure out what that is. And if they don't, it will be the biggest missed opportunity, because everything I see about this Biden administration, it's not socialism, and we have to do a separate video on that. No, this is this neoliberal corporatism on steroids, okay? And they see that they have a runway to get what they want, okay? And make it very hard to undo it later.
No, it's neoliberal corporatism combined with wokeism. In other words,
Well, that's the seasoning, isn't it? That's the cream that makes it look and sound pretty.
Exactly. So it means that there is absolutely nothing in it for ordinary people.
Nothing.
The economic message doesn't give you anything, and then you have a social and cultural message that tells you that you are scum and you're a disgusting human being. So it's like, offering nothing, which is kind of why you can only get by through executive actions and through demonizing your opponents by continually, Nazi, Hitler, white supremacist, Holocaust denier, and so on and so forth. That's their way of doing it. You'd have to admire the Democrats, that it's an amazing feat that they've actually been quite successful in.
I don't know about you, George. I mean, I've asked this of Democratic strategists, and privately, not on air or anything like that. Why is it every single news cycle they bring out a couple dozen, low octane thinkers, politicians, policymakers, activists? They say exactly the same thing. How is that possible?
Yes.
Getting two Republicans to say the same thing twice is alert the media, breaking news.
Right. It's a little like there's that old joke about where you have those Indian restaurants, along the street, and then you say there's actually one kitchen at the back serving all of the Indian restaurants. I think in the same way, there is always sort of one center, headquarters, where the talking points are manufactured, and then they just distribute it. Okay, now go out and repeat that same message, because they do exactly that.
It's like the Indian WhatsApp group, right?
Right, exactly.
Mystery solved.
Exactly. All right. Well, thank you, Peter. We will, of course, maintain a laser-like focus on the political developments in the United States and elsewhere. And remember, we are now on Rumble, so look us up there, please. And if you like the gaggle, please like, share, and subscribe. See you soon. Bye.